Bodybuilding isn't just a sport, it's a full-time identity. You eat it, breathe it, live it, and it costs you more than money. You lose time with family, you lose relationships, because people can't understand why you'd sacrifice everything for a trophy. The federations make millions off pay-per-views, sponsors, ticket sales, but what do the athletes get? Look at the recent 212 division. Three-time Mr. Olympia Keon Pearson, a champion, earned $90K in 2024, and this year, 2025, $50K.
In my opinion, the grand prizes for these competition bodybuilding shows, they're just ridiculous, okay? Now, I'm gonna just keep it real. They're ridiculous. I mean,
yeah, go get it. If I want it, then I go get it. Yeah, no limit. If I want it, then I go get it. Yeah, go get it. If I want it, then I go get it. Look.
Everybody loves the show, the muscles, the lights, the cheers, but what they don't see is the pain, the pressure, and the price we pay to be called a professional bodybuilder. This isn't about hate or judgment, it's about truth. Because leadership starts with honesty, even when that honesty exposes an ugly reality. This is the price of perfection. From the moment you step into this sport, the message is clear. If you want to compete with the big boys, you have to grow. And to grow faster, many turn to shortcuts. That's right, the juice. How do I know? I've seen it up close and personal. I've felt it. I've lived around it. My future memoir, currently being professionally edited, will address it all. Stay tuned for the real uncut truth surrounding steroids and its negative impact. The pressure to be freaky big, to have that paper-thin skin, to chase the look the judges, sponsors, and fans reward is real. And here's the truth. Anabolic steroids don't come with warning labels in this world. They come with expectations. Expectations from coaches, fans, sponsors, and even yourself. You start believing it's the only way to be great until you realize you're paying with your health. Leadership means knowing when to say no, even when everyone else says yes. Bodybuilding isn't just a sport, it's a full-time identity. You eat it, breathe it, live it, and it costs you more than money. You lose time with family, you lose relationships because people can't understand why you'd sacrifice everything for a trophy. You lose parts of yourself, your hormones, your health, your peace, chasing an image that's never satisfied. You'll hear about kidney failures, heart problems, mental crashes after competition season, but we rarely talk about it because the show must go on, right? Until it doesn't. Leadership means protecting yourself, not destroying yourself to be admired. Here's the part that cuts deep. The same system that pushes athletes to extremes barely protects them when things go wrong. The federations make millions off pay-per-views, sponsors, ticket sales, but what do the athletes get? Look at the recent 212 division. Three-time Mr. Olympia Keon Pearson, a champion, earned $90K in 2024, and this year, 2025, $50K. That's not just a pay cut, that's a slap in the face. These are world-class athletes putting their lives on the line, yet they're undervalued and overlooked. If I was still competing and subjected to a smaller prize winning than my previous winnings, and it is significantly lower this time around, I would feel grossly disrespected and undervalued. It's time for the IFBB, NPC, and every major bodybuilding network to stand up for these athletes. Stop exploiting their dedication for your bottom line. Leadership means advocating for the people who keep your sport alive. Also, to those bodybuilding athletes who know they deserve better, don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Stand up against being disenfranchised. Bodybuilding legends like Sean Ray and Lee Priest spoke vehemently against bodybuilding corruptions and injustices, and so should you. I'm not here to tear bodybuilding down. I love this craft. It taught me discipline, resilience, and pride, but I'm also not blind to its biases and partiality. If we love something, we have to be willing to hold it accountable. We need a new kind of bodybuilding, one that values health over hype, integrity over instant fame, one that teaches the next generation how to build longevity, not just size. True leadership isn't just about flexing under lights. It's about standing in truth when the lights go out. Perfection isn't worth dying for. Legacy is built through integrity, and that is the real muscle we all need to grow.
All right. Hello, all my people. Supah Citizen, it's been a long time since we've been in person, right? It's okay to use AI and, allow AI to do your business, but sometimes live and direct or just live, you can't beat it. So here we are. We got to talk today. I have some things, some gripe to, pick with a certain industry that I have a lot to say about because I once was in that industry. So this episode is about a little rant on an industry that I, at one point, held at a very high level in my life. But at this point, I still am entertained by it. But at the same time, I'm still bothered, heavily, by the way they treat their athletes. And I know you're wondering, what am I talking about? You guessed it, I am talking about bodybuilding. So, if you all don't know already, I once was a bodybuilder. I was literally one show away from becoming a professional, literally becoming an IFBB pro. And that didn't happen due to my immigration, but those of you who don't know, all you got to do is just catch up with some of my videos and get caught up with what's going on with that in that world. But to make a long story short, today or this weekend is, or in my opinion, I like to say strong end for all my Rasta veterans out there. Daily eye, But anyway, let's get back on topic. This strong end is a very big, huge competition venue called the Mr. Olympia, right? And the Mr. Olympia is a very coveted, extremely coveted, competitive bodybuilding professional venue competition. That's like Arnold has gotten 7. You have Lee Haney for all those who are bodybuilding fans and follow bodybuilding, because there's a lot of politics in bodybuilding as well. But Lee Haney has gotten 8. Obviously, we are aware of Ronnie Coleman, Mr. Big Ron. He has gotten 8 as well. Then you got Phil Heath, and you got so many of those guys. You got Jay Cutler's, and you got Samson, and it just list goes on. But you know what I'm talking. There's so many of these guys. But people don't really mention and talk about the 212 class. Knowing me and knowing my size, I wanted to be on stage with the big boys, which is the open class, which is fine because people like Sean Ray, Dexter Jackson, this old school, not so tall bodybuilders at that point were standing on stage with those guys. But if 212 was around, that was the category I know rightfully I'll be in, because I'm not the tallest guy, I'm not the shortest guy, but I fit right in between. So I will most likely be in 212. So I say all that because the top reigning champ, Keon Pearson, yes, I'm shouting out the young king. He is doing excellent. He's been winning the 212. I'm gonna be frank. Me as the bodybuilder I am, I have never really, besides the old school guys, I'm a big time old school Dexter Jackson follower. I love Dexter Jackson's physique. It's awesome. It's like on par with one of the best out there. Sean Ray, I'm a huge Sean Ray when it comes to the physique. The guys that I look up to, that reminds me of my body type, and this new guy, I just saw. People used to say like, actually I remember the Godfather of bodybuilding. Yes, we all know his name, Charles Glass. At one point I used to know him. He used to come basically train me, but he had told me I reminded him on body structure of Flex Wheeler. You know, so those type of body types are not. Those body types are like the high of the echelon of bodybuilding. But anyway, this new guy, Pearson, Keon, he wins the 2025 this year, Olympia 212. I think he won it last year as well. And he's been doing well. He and another guy, they go at it every year. They battle. They battle hard. But he always ends up winning because he's pretty, really. I mean, his physique. Let me just say like this. I was one of those bodybuilders, like I was saying previously. I like those old school bodybuilders, the Sean Rays, the Dexter Jacksons, you know, those body types, Flex Wheelers. Now this guy is a guy, Keon Pearson. I don't look at much people when it comes to looking at bodybuilders, but when it comes to genetics and just the physique, this guy has the like top-notch physiques that I've ever seen, like the genetic, the breakdown, the way his muscle rounds, the way, you know, his striations, his muscle bellies. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you haven't seen him, Keon Pearson, 212, the Olympia 2 times. He's awesome. He's excellent. But I'm on here today to make this message because he won last year, and I think according to last year, he won like 90,000, and that's the grand prize. And sometimes, in my opinion, the grand prizes for these competition bodybuilding shows, they're just ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it real. They're ridiculous. I mean, some of the amount of money that it's kind of hot. That's why I keep over here, keep the door open, trying to be as comfortable as I can. But anyway, it's so expensive to keep up with the bodybuilding, especially at that level, at that echelon, Mr. Olympia echelon. I mean, to stay in shape, to eat the foods you have to eat, to be disciplined, and to be dedicated, to be consistent, to be professional. It's not easy. It's very hard. The money that it costs alone, because you know those guys are on serious, what we like to call juice. You know, juice, the juice. You know, people always think I'm on the juice, but if you look at me right now, I barely eat. Literally, I barely eat 3 meals a day. I'm a faster. But at the end of the day, people think I'm on the juice. But the guys who are really on the juice, if you see them, you can tell. You know, they got some signs. Typical signs. Athletes. You know, the voice. There's so many, the breasts, there's so many things that you can look at, the testes, the shrink, you know, those things, right? But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the steroids. I'm here to talk about the issues that I'm having with Keon Pearson's prize money, right, was dropped significantly. I don't know if anybody's bringing attention to this, but that is a problem. So already bodybuilding don't get a lot of respect in general. But within the sport, they get respect, but still, they don't get respect outside the global aspect of things, right? And these are some of the reasons why I feel like it cannot get the respect that a lot of other sport industry or conglomerate get, because the way they treat these athletes. Number one, how can you have someone who wins a competition prize money that was 90,000 1 year, which I still think is ridiculously low, but whatever. We'll talk about the statistics as far as the amount of money you put in versus the money that you get out later. But let's talk about just winning, right? You won that amount of money last year, and you here in 2025, and you win again. But guess what? The money that you won last year, which was 90 grand, has now been reduced to a mere, from what I saw, 50 grand, which is already, again, 90 was already low, so now you just dropped me to 50 or 40 or whatever the case is. But that's what I've heard, and I'm so against that. I've always been one of those guys who believe in a player union, making sure athlete union, or just holding the big businesses, big conglomerates accountable for the mistreatment of athletes. The athletes should be standing up for themselves and speaking up against this kind of things. It's wrong. You cannot be paying these athletes that kind of money, and we're supposed to be considered whatever. That's especially that's very low, and it's ridiculous. But that's another story. My whole point of making this video, outside of exposing the reality of the serious disfranchisement and abuse of power when it comes to bodybuilding, and some of the issues that a lot of people don't bring up because of their affiliations and being scared of being silenced, what have you. I'm not in that industry like that. Yes, at one point I was, but I'm not trying to impress anybody. I don't really care. I'm 43 and I'm fine with the way I live and I feel, and I just try to use this opportunity to show people you don't have to take steroids, you don't have to take any drugs. With consistency, hard work, dedication, discipline, you can accomplish anything. But if you are taking steroids and you are working hard to satisfy this big huge conglomerate that doesn't appreciate you and disrespects you and violates you by reducing your winnings by literally 40, 50, 60%, which is ridiculous. You have to wake up and realize that you're putting your body at risk. So I'm going to go over some of the things that bodybuilder risks when they're trying to get into this professional world of bodybuilding, when they're trying to be on that stage with other bodybuilders and show the world their physiques and show the world their prowess and their musculature and all these things. I'm going to tell you what they go through, because I know that was my industry. At one point, that's what I was going through. And a book that I'm writing is already been written and now is in the process of being edited, will expose all that information. And you just have to wait and hopefully support the channel, and we all can see that book published when it's time. But let's go over some things that I want to expose about, that world when it comes to the negative impacts, right, of what steroids can do to you. Okay, so let's go ahead. First of all, the physical and hormonal effects. The physical and the hormonal effects. Your testes, your gonads, your balls, if you will, shrink. Okay, decreases in sperm count. So if you're trying to have a baby, have a child, that's not a good idea to do it, because you're not going to get that per sperm count out. And already in general, the kind of chemicals and stuff that's already in the food has decimated male sperm count for the longest time. So taking steroids would not help that. Okay, so it reduces the sperm count. All right, basically the male tissue, right, the breast, the tissue, the male breast, it becomes what they call it, like it's a name for it, but you have estrogen in it, so your breast kind of, but you got to look it up. But it's like it basically give men titties, if you will. All right, moving on. Impotency. All right, so impotency, like if you're trying to, get it up or be excited, or you don't have it, you're not able to do what you're supposed to do in the bedroom, and you cannot deliver in the bedroom, and that's not a good thing, especially if you're married, if you have a girlfriend, or you have a lover and you can't perform. That's another big thing for divorce, right? So, but that's another story. So let's continue. On the cardiovascular aspect of things, right, it's not good. It's really, really bad. So it elevates your LCD and your HDL, like your LDL, like your lower, the bad cholesterol, good cholesterol, okay? HDL, LDL. It's not good for that. High blood pressure. If you are dealing with a situation where you get mad, your blood pressure go up, if you're on that stuff, it's even worse. Right? That's not good at all. Okay? Thickening of the heart makes the heart real thick and just solid as a rock. Okay. And that's something you want to be aware of, because it can lead to what? Heart attacks. That's right. It can lead to heart attacks. And then guess what? Once you get a heart attack, you can suddenly just pass away. You can suddenly just die, or D-E-I, or D-I-E, right? Or depart, right? You're not going to be here anymore. So we don't want that, right? Who knows? Maybe you do want that. I don't know. Some people do, but let's continue. Okay. So the psychological, right, and the neurological effect. So, right, you have aggression. You see something, you want to go get it, right? But you get it in a way where it's not okay. It's terrible. Your approach is just rude, disrespectful, inconsiderate, mean, and you become this narcissistic, egotistical maniac that just do what they want and how they want, where they want, and you don't care if anybody cares, and you don't want anybody to say anything to you. That's the kind of mentality you have. The aggression, we call it roar rage, right? All right, let's continue. All right, so you have depression. If you think about it, if you've taken all this drug and you're getting so big and the competition stops and it's over and you got to lose weight, or you don't have that same kind of muscle mass that you used to have because you may not have the money or whatever, so you drop, then you get depressed, you get sad, you get frustrated, you get regretful, you may want to get suicidal, see the suicidal ideation, those kind of things, and it's not good. It's a very, very terrible reality. All right. And another thing is addiction. You become addicted to because you saw the way people look at you. They're like, oh, that guy look good. I want to look like that guy, and you want to be that guy. But guess what? You can't be that person. That person is not you. So don't get addicted to something that you can't keep up with. Because once you get addicted to that, it's over. It's done. Because now it controls you. You become a slave to that addiction. And what's that addiction? Most people say vanity, right? But also it's ignorance, because that your body type is your body type. My body type, for example, is my body type, right? The way I look, that's my genetics, that's my hard work, that's just how I look, right? But some people think, I can look like that. No, if you're gonna look the way you're gonna look, whatever your body is, love your body, appreciate your body, and do what's necessary for your body. Stop trying to be like everybody. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's continue. Cognitive, and right, not only your cognitive, right? Not only your cognitive, but also you have a stop of like disruption. It's just like everything changes, like your whole mentality, your whole cognitive ability. You can't process things easily. You cannot think regularly. You cannot approach the world with a sound mind, so your cognitive ability is affected highly. So you have to be very conscious of that reality if you're thinking of taking these drugs. All right, let's continue. Not to mention your liver. Your liver and your kidney, the damage that it causes, that is no joke. It's no joke. If you notice, a lot of the guys, big time bodybuilders, big time, have been severely, their life have been shortened. They're not here no longer with us. And some of the best memorable looking guys and incredible genetics and monstrosity of people, like their genetics is ridiculous. Those guys were great, but a lot of them were unaware and uneducated about the steroid uses, the costs, the long-term effects, and those are some of the long-term effects. So I want people to be really intentional and very considerable, and consider highly what they're getting into, because it's not a game that you want to get into and not knowing the reality of it. All right, so let's continue. Like I said, your liver and your kidneys are damaged, right? You got hair loss issues, right? Then you have what they call your tendon injuries. Like basically the muscles of your body your muscles start growing so fast, so quick that your tendons can't keep up with them. So you can easily twist your wrist or bend your ankle and break it because of the muscle surrounding around it is so big and large that you can't control how heavy it is. Because of the steroid use, right? Other issues such as like, what would I say? Like you can suppress your natural hormones, for example, right? So your normal hormones that you got going on in your body, it flows a certain way, right? It has a natural flow. But what you do when you start taking those drugs, specifically with steroids, now you it becomes unbalanced. And that imbalance itself is what causes major internal issues with your organs, and then thus making you susceptible to illness and issues and having to go to the hospitals and all those things. So yeah, it's very important to know about your hormones and to keep it balanced. If you don't balance it, a lot can happen. Okay? Final and last comment on this particular topic is, don't forget, until it's a schedule 2 or 3, it's still considered a substance abuse. So it's controlled substance. So be careful. It's part of breaking a part of a law that you can get a record, or you can get some serious time, or you can get some serious fines. It depends. You got to pick and choose your poison, right? But if you're doing it, be like the professionals. I know some professionals who've done it at the highest level and done it well. Have a real doctor check you out. Have a real doctor monitor your injections, your injection sites. Have real doctors just make sure, check in with them that you're fine. Be in a community with other users who are just as professional as you are, and get the help from them if you need to. Don't do it on your own and think you know what you're doing just to do it, because believe it or not, parents, friends, families out there, children are taking this stuff whether you like it or not. They're finding it amongst other folks who are into that world of vanity, looking good and impressing people, that they're gonna find a way to get their hands on it. So you want to make sure there's education around this thing and not just try to hide it and act and pretend like it doesn't exist, because it does. People take steroids. I honestly did not know children when I was in high school. This is back in the early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000, that children were taking steroids, because that's when I started bodybuilding. I started bodybuilding at 16, 17, I think, and that was 96, 97, around that time. And I wasn't sure I was going to these competitions, just me being natural and whatever, flexing and beating men and my other teenagers in my class, while teenagers was taking drugs. I had no clue. And I'm like, how am I beating these guys with drugs? It's like, are you on drugs? I was like, no, I'm natural. They said, what do you mean? I was like, I'm natural. I don't take nothing. I don't do anything. They couldn't believe it. So it is very, very, very serious to know that your children can take this stuff, can get hands on this stuff, and you need to be very vigilant and watchful of it, and educate them, just like you educate them on the birds and the bees and every other things in between. Steroid use is a serious concern, because these guys are going through all this trying to impress this organization, this IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding, taking all these drugs to just get $50,000. Think about that. $50,000 for all that hard work. It's not worth it. I'm gonna be frank, and I'm not trying to downplay all the competitors that I won in the past, or are gonna win, or need to win, or whatever. But you guys need to really wake up and do something about that. Because if you think $50,000 is enough, maybe it is for you, and that's fine. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not, because these guys are making millions of dollars off of that industry. Not to mention all the merch and all the other stuff that comes with it. And what amount are you guys getting? Maybe that's why things didn't work out in the industry for me, because at the end of the day, I probably would have been a disruptor, and they would not like that. Anytime there's a disruptor in an industry that can cause major panic for people with their pockets, they're not gonna like that. But I'm non-aligned. That's what makes me who I am. I'm non-aligned, so I'm gonna say whatever I feel and deem necessary to expose the industry for what it is doing and what it has done. And that's just scratching the surface. But anyway, this is Supah Citizen, Uncle Palm J. Just wanted to come in today and give you guys a live, even though we're not live, but you know what I mean. I'm giving you guys the real deal, and I've been behind the scenes for a while, and I thought let me just come in and say hi to everyone, and also give everyone an update. I've been appreciating the members. We are doing great. We already are past 50, so that means I'm officially able to go live now. So thank every single one of you for making it possible, for helping me go live. With over 50 subscribers. Let's keep going. Let's continue to be champions and going and doing the right thing, and bringing everybody to this channel and making sure they hear the truth. All right. So thank everybody. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone. Keep joining, keep watching, because the viewership is crazy. I've barely been on the channel with that particular channel for Supah Citizen for 3 months, and we already over 1,600 watch hours. So I know we're gonna hit our 3,000 or 4,000 by the year. The only thing is now we got to get those subscribers up. So if you haven't subscribed, you've been watching, you're one of those watchers, you love watching it, but you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, do us a favor. We're doing this together. We're doing this as champions. Go ahead and just subscribe and help us just keep going up, because we need to get that 1,000 so I can get this real opportunities to make partners, so I can start making some kind of money, right? Money. That's what I need. All right, so let's go ahead, get the subscribership up. Let's get it really high. Let's get it for 1,000. But right now, I could settle with 100. Since we already got 50, let's go for 100. All right, we'll get there slowly but surely. But make sure you keep subscribing. Make sure you keep liking. Make sure you keep sharing. I appreciate you. This is Palm J, right? Uncle Palm J, Supah Citizen. We are out. Until next time. Love you guys. Have a great, wonderful, and blessed day.
Go get it.